What's up, friends on YouTube? So this is the second time we decided to make this video. We kind of missed some points on the last video and maybe weren't as upbeat as we should have been.
I wasn't very enthusiastic, I'm
Whoa,
sorry.
whoa, whoa.
Don't look at me like that. Anyway.
It's all good. We have missed our Wednesdays for the last 2 weeks, only because we have this little angel who right now is sleeping, who joined us. Oh.
Say hello to Azalea. Azalea Soleil Maness.
Yeah, so she joined us November 15th at 12:22 on a Thursday. We had originally planned to birth naturally at the birth center here in Chapel Hill with no medication or anything like that, but we ended up actually scheduling a C-section because of a few different reasons. One being I have a bicornuate uterus. Will you make the shape with your hands?
Yeah.
So my uterus is heart-shaped, but has like a septum that divides all the way down the middle to divide it into basically two horns. You wanna hold her?
Yeah, I'll take her while you're humping on the story.
Humping?
Hopping on the story.
Okay.
Not humping.
Okay, let's just remove her chapeau. Okay, so because of the type of uterus that I have, there are a few different things that make us a little bit higher risk. One being preterm labor, another being early miscarriage, another being breech positioning of the baby, which she was, and none of the other things, we didn't have to worry about all of that, so we were lucky.
Which all of that really freaked us out too.
Yeah,
as
we
you
talked
can imagine.
to a lot of
I
different
mean,
people that were concerned for us.
There's always some risk that's involved in pregnancy. There's a lot of different variables that are in play. But yeah, we were really concerned about that. But all in all, positive side, we were blessed because you made it pretty much to full term.
Yeah, I was
2 days
coming
shy.
up on 40 weeks. So technically we could have gone longer, but because we scheduled the C-section, they suggest going a week early from your 40-week due date, just to make sure that you don't go into labor. So another reason that we scheduled for a C-section is because I'm really terrified of surgery. It's probably like my greatest fear in life, and I have a lot of anxiety over it, not really emotionally stable when thinking about it. So I found out that she was breech very early on, and she pretty much stayed in that position the whole time. So I had time to really prepare for like the inevitable. We did everything that we could to help her turn. So we did the moxa, we did the inversions, we did
Ice packs,
hot packs, acupuncture, massage, chiropractor work.
energy healing.
It was energy healing, but there's a word for it. I'll put it.
I also
that's what it's
asked
called.
very, very politely, but she still wouldn't do it.
What?
To flip.
Oh yeah, and then you did the whole speaking, you know, down low, and just making sure that she could hear us, like playing music, and so we did all of that. She still wouldn't turn, primarily because of the shape of my uterus again. So I had a lot of time still to really process that she wasn't going to turn, and just kind of mentally prepared myself for having a C-section. Also, because this is our first baby, it was probably safer to have a C-section than to try and do a vaginal breech, which we had discussed several times with multiple different OBs and midwives about doing that, as well as waiting until I went into labor to have a C-section. But everybody had suggested that with the fear that I have, that we just go ahead and schedule it. That way it's a more peaceful, relaxing, planned, scheduled, everybody's ready, and like it's kind of more gentle of an experience. Yeah, and it's just, you can have music, you can have oils, you can have the family centered, you like clear drape, and then they can put the baby skin to skin, and dad can be there, and it's not like an emergency situation. So that was also another reason why we scheduled it.
Which is a difficult decision for you.
It really was, because it was a dream to go into labor and have like a vaginal birth and be natural and maybe have a water birth and all this kind of stuff. And obviously that wasn't possible with our situation. And I think I just had to come to terms with that. In hindsight, I feel really grateful for the experience that we had, even though we'll kind of talk about it a little bit, but even though there were a few things that weren't planned, but I guess with birth nothing is ever by the book. Everybody's experience is going to be different with every baby. So there was definitely some things that I wish we could have had go a little bit differently, but looking back, I'm just grateful that she's healthy. I'm grateful that I healed well. I'm grateful that my milk came in, because I know that that's an issue for C-section moms. I'm grateful, you know, that she's feeding well, that she's growing. She was a healthy weight. That's also another thing with my uterus, is that she would be a smaller baby, and she was 6 pounds 17 ounces? 15 ounces. And she lost only like maybe not even a pound, and then she regained it already in 2 weeks, and she's already grown an inch. So she's smashing life right now. Eats, sleeps, poops
a lot,
and then is on repeat.
And so one of the things that I would add too is that through this whole process there was a couple things that were really helpful for me. One, doing a birthing class. So there's just so much information out there regarding pregnancy.
All kinds of books, which I will show you what we recommend here.
And so with that, there's so much information out there on pregnancy and birth. Obviously there's like the YouTube and internet route, which you need to have filters for, because I'm sure you get a lot of different types of information. Some positive, some negative.
We also watch different videos. So like a part of my process of being okay with the C-sections is I watched a lot of vlogs of people like having C-sections. So I kind of watched a little bit of the surgery, a little bit of like the spinal, a little bit of like, you know, the experience that moms and dads went through when the baby was born and when things went wrong, or all this kind of stuff, and like after the surgery too. And that's not really your thing.
It's very brave of you to watch those videos.
Well, I like to feel like I know what I'm about to get into. I don't watch like the gruesome like part, but I watch like what the mom is going through and like what the setup is, what the room is like, just so that I'm not completely like diving into an abyss that I've never been through before. So I was really grateful for a lot of videos to watch.
And that said too, so we went through a birthing class that was offered through the Women's Birthing and Wellness Center in Chapel Hill. And it was 4 Saturdays in a row for 4 hours, I believe, on that Saturday.
With some other families.
With other families too, and we dove deep
yeah.
Into what to experience.
Primarily for vaginal birth, unmedicated and very holistic kind of experience, but it was still really helpful to talk about breathing and ways that we could connect as partners.
Yeah. So talking from like the male perspective as well, you know, it can be kind of overwhelming with all of the different things that you need to be aware of or that are helpful to know. And knowing those things were really helpful when we were in the process of having the baby, in regards to like making decisions on, you know, do you want your baby circumcised, or do you want the cord clamped, or do you want to cut the cord yourself, or it's just small details like that. So the more knowledgeable you are, the more comfortable you feel in that situation. And so as a father, you know, I would just suggest picking up a book or even taking a class. The benefit of the class is that we did get some bonding experiences, so we got to like practice different like massage techniques for the pregnant woman, which was really helpful and really great. So I would suggest that. Are you messing with her? Leave her alone.
I'm sorry.
She was
had
so
like
peaceful.
A little piece of fluff, and I was just trying to get it.
So the other one I just wanted to mention too was that for us, because we weren't having a natural birth and we were going to have a C-section, one of the midwives from the birthing center came with us during the process and stayed with us while the surgery was happening. And that really proved to be extremely valuable, because after she was birthed, she had to go to the NICU for a short while because she wasn't taking up as much oxygen as they like to see. So they had to keep her on oxygen for a bit. And so we had talked about and agreed that I would go with the baby if they had to go to the NICU. And that was tough because I had to leave Juby behind. But the midwife was able to stay with Juby during the remainder of the procedure. And for me, it made me feel a lot more comfortable leaving Juby behind because the midwife was there, although it was difficult. But at the same time, I got the opportunity to stay with the baby and just keep an eye over her to make sure that everything was going okay with her. And so I guess all of that to say, another thing that is super helpful is if you're interested in it, like a midwife or a doula.
I would.
Small differences.
So, if we had been birthing at the birth center, we wouldn't have needed a doula, because we understand that they understand what we're looking for as far as like a practice to birth at, and they definitely had a very holistic value about them, and they were very connected to us as far as like natural birthing and like the environment, and they really wanted to like support our needs and what type of birth plan we wanted. So that was definitely something that we loved about that place. But because we had to birth at the hospital and we had all the walk-ins at the birth center, they come with us and act as a doula, because obviously midwives don't do surgeries. She came as a support for us. So having someone for a C-section, a doula, I definitely think that that would be super helpful. She's no pro photographer, but she was there to take some pictures on our iPhone, just like for a moment. I wasn't sure if I wanted that or not, but I'm glad that we have the few pictures that we do. We also, when they dropped the drape and she took the picture, it was kind of a moment where we had a really intense connection, I guess all three of us, or the two of us with our little baby. We didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, so everyone had said that, Mom, you were gonna announce whether or not it's a boy or a girl, and so they kind of like held her up, and everyone like waited for me to say if it was a boy or a girl, and it was a girl. And everybody
it was such a surreal moment.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it was the first opportunity to see your first child, and then like
she
they're
just
holding
came out
up
of
there.
nowhere.
Yeah, it's just
It was very emotional,
gives me
and a lot of
goosebumps.
women talk about you don't have that same like euphoric build up because you know you're on all these drugs and all these meds and stuff, and I definitely would agree that it maybe wasn't as euphoric as like a completely natural birth, but I definitely still felt like a well of emotion kind of like shower over me, and I just like immediately started tearing up and like wanted to touch her and like be able to hold her, but obviously like, you know, she's on the sterile side and like has to get her umbilical cord cut and then taken over to just have a quick checkup, make sure she's doing okay. Vaginal birth, they get a squeeze which prevents like any mucus or amniotic fluid from being in their lungs once they reach our world, but through the cesarean birth they don't have that same compression, and so they're more likely to need a little bit of extra help to really initiate the breathing, which is why she went to the NICU.
Now, with all that said, we could go on for days.
Yeah.
We could literally keep you for hours here talking about our birthday
Yeah.
story. But were there any other topics that we missed?
No, I mean, if you guys have any other questions about either of our experiences as men or women or baby, we can try and do our best to answer for her, but we'll answer all your questions, but we just wanted to let you know that we'll be back. Hopefully maybe videos will be less consistent just for right now because she's still such a newborn and our routine is still kind of all over the place and we wake up like bajillion times in the night.
We're still working on the sleep thing.
Yeah, but I think for right now, yeah, we just wanted to introduce you to Azalea and let you know that we're still here. We've missed you guys. We're working on the shower.
The bus projects.
Yeah, we still have some bus projects for you. So
they will always continue.
Don't fret. And yeah, so we'll get the rest of the things done here on the bus. Hopefully we'll be able to have a shower sometime here soon. And we just bought this Reflectix because we had a lot of suggestions for how to keep our bus warm. So also if you guys have any other suggestions of how to keep the bus warm through the colder evenings, especially now we have a little one, we wrap her up in her Sherpa to sleep at night, but still concerned that sometimes it can get like into the low 20s and that's a little chilly even for us. So if you guys have any other suggestions about that, let us know.
We've got some exciting stuff coming up and happening, some big changes that we'll be sharing with you soon.
We'll let you know what we've been working on
here in the next month or two. And with that said, wishing you guys the best. Thank you for the support. Do we say smash that follow button?
You can.
Smash that follow button.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah, subscribe.
It's follow on Instagram.
Yeah, subscribe. Yeah. We're doing our marketing right.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And what else is it? Oh yeah, put the bell on it.
Yeah, hit the bell, and
We'll try our best to still be regular Wednesdays, and then I want to start making videos on Sundays. So if you also, if there's anything that you want to see from us, we were thinking about doing some food videos about what we eat. We get a lot of questions about that, as well as just like a day in the life of, I guess now the three of us here on the bus, and some routines that we both like to do, and like just general lifestyle experiences that we go through every day.
all that said, thank you guys for the support, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, see you next time.
See you. Hey, wait. Bye.